Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 Season 2 Episode 7 titled Slash and Destroy. This is a really great episode. And a lot of cool moments in it. Mostly, of course, Spike, Raphael's turtle, being turned into the main enemy Slash. It's cool, but at the same time, it's kind of sad because I always like, Spike as a character, even though he doesn't. Obviously, he's a turtle, he doesn't talk. He's a tortoise technically. And I thought this episode would kind of be more of a comedy episode where, Spike would kind of be going off on his own, and he would take, or Raphael would go out on his own, and he'd take Spike with him. And I thought, this would be like a really funny episode, but also fairly serious because it'll sort of tackle Raphael's, typical problem, which is he always wants to be leader, or he always feels like he'd be better off on his own. And I figured it would tackle the more solo adventures of Raphael in this episode, where, for some reason he'd take Spike with him, and it would be kind of funny and stuff. And it starts off really funny, and he's with Spike, and I love the scene where he comes in, and he hits Mikey on the head with the book, and when he sits Spike down, Spike is just normal, and then after he hits Mikey, Spike smiles. So it was really funny in the beginning, and then once he took the mutagen and put it in his room, I was like, I already knew what was gonna happen. And as soon as he transformed, I was like, because I didn't know the character Spike. I didn't know that character, but as soon as he transformed, I thought he was gonna turn into a character from the Ninja Turtles video game, which was Spike. I just didn't know that was his name because they don't call him that in the game. And it was the like prehistoric Turtlesaurus is like the name of the level, and it's in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for Super Nintendo game. And I was like, he has to turn into that enemy. I just never really knew his name. Like, they do call him Slash now that I think about it. I guess I never paid that any attention that it says his name under that. But he turns into that character who in the game is an insane character, even though it's still Super Nintendo. You obviously can tell this character is like incredibly powerful because he's just a hard boss. And in the show, it's it transfers over really well from both the game and obviously the original comic books. And he's much bigger. I think he was just the normal size of the other turtles in like previous versions. He was just really crazy and very strong. And in this, they kind of built him up to show he's so incredibly powerful because he's huge. And the reason he's so big compared to other guys is because he's a tortoise, and they're actually turtles, and tortoises grow to be really huge because they live for over 100 years, so they get really big. But it was crazy. In this episode, he's just a huge bulking character, and he just destroys the turtles. And I can't wait for him to come back, honestly, and to end up working with Shredder, or most likely Shredder, because it's Shredder. He'll be the main enemy. But he was great in this episode, and he's going around and he like basically like kidnaps Donnie and beats him up, and he takes his bandana and puts it on his arm, and then he does the same to Mikey. And in that scene with Mikey, I loved how he did it, where how they did it in slow motion, and he's just like pounding him into the ground, and he's like bouncing back up because he's hitting him with so much force. He's flying back up into the air, and he's just punching him over and over again. And then Raphael has to fight him off, and he's just incredibly powerful. Like when he punches Raphael like through the some part of the building. It wasn't a chimney, but it was like a wall pretty much, and he just socks him right through. It was insane. But I love the action in that, and it was just a good story to me because it was Raph really figuring out I can't just go it alone, and sometimes when I do, I'm the one who makes mistakes and everyone else pays for it, which was kind of the big thing in the beginning of the episode. Everyone else makes mistakes, and I have to pay for it. And then the episode was kind of the reverse, where he screwed up and everyone else was getting attacked. Or in Leo's case, he was just having a like really crappy day trying to get the mutagen. And that was of course the funny half of the episode compared to like the super dramatic side, where Slash is just like destroying Donnie and Mikey, and Raph is trying to fight him. Like he's like you're like one of my best friends pretty much, and now I have to destroy you because you lost your mind and you're trying to kill my brothers. And then you have Leo off on his own trying to get the mutagen, and that was really funny. And I did enjoy it. It was really silly. And then of course they tied it all together really well at the end, where Raph is fighting and they fall through the roof of the little girl's house, and then that's how Leo gets into the story and then into the fight. But overall, I thought it was an amazing episode. I'm really, really excited for Slash to come back, but I don't think we're gonna get that for a couple of weeks because they're gonna kind of, you know, even things out and have characters come in and then go out and come back in. Especially since this was obviously his introduction as Slash. But it was a great episode. It had great action. It had so it had some pretty serious tension because like I said, he was so powerful. He could take all of them on. Like honestly, he could probably take on all four turtles at once if he hadn't already beaten them up one at a time. He could have taken them on all at once, I'm sure. And then the only reason Raph beat him was because of the lesson he learned from Master Splinter when he kind of just pressure point and then he fell off the roof. But great episode as far as I'm concerned. Can't wait for Slash to come back. Definitely excited to see who he teams up with and how they end up teaming up because him and well, I guess I have to call him like Razor. If I can't really remember how to say it, but he teams up with Bradley. That would be an insane duo for the Turtles to go up against. They have to call it Splinter for that. But excited for the episode. So comment below. Let me know what you guys thought. Favorite parts, least favorite parts, and having seen Slash come into this season, I guess the biggest question for you guys, who do you want to come into this season? Like what villains and stuff do you guys really want to see come into this show? Because initially Slash was a character from Dimension X, which they haven't even really gotten into too much in this, aside from that's where the Krang are from. But obviously with the show having its own sort of alterations to the source material, who do you guys want to come into the show, and do you guys think that some hints have been dropped as to who may or may not come into the show as a certain enemy, aside from Baxter Stockman? Because I think maybe in season 3 he will turn into the Fly character because they hinted at it in the I think it was last week's episode, or it might have been 2 weeks ago, but they hinted at it, and him as the Fly character was actually a really cool character as far as I'm concerned. But comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.